Alrighty, hello everybody, and welcome back to the 1K World Cup 2025, presented by Joke. We are back once again for the start of the Sunday block of matches. It is going to be China taking on Mexico, our 3rd seed versus our 10th seed, looking to move on to the round of 16 with maybe a little bit more confidence as we begin here. It is very quick procedures after all. No bans, no warm-ups to be spotted. We get the rolls immediately. Snow with the 45 for Mexico. Minato with the 92 for China. So first pick will go to China, and they're instantly gonna shotgun the classic 2 in this map pool. Haven't even given me a chance to introduce myself. Hello everybody, my name is Sparky, and I'm going to be doing a bit of a solo job here in this commentary booth for this match. And I'm hopeful for quite a little bit of fireworks here as we wait for this map to load here. Get the music all loaded up, get the players loaded up as well, and see who will be facing off against each other. Not too much at stake for these two teams, both of them making it to qualifying the top 12 for this tournament, so not needing to do the little bit of an elimination gauntlet for the remaining 8 seeds, but definitely want to go into that round of 16 with a bit of confidence and ensuring that you're going in at your correct spot. at the end of the day. I think China has a little bit more to play for, being the higher seed, but Mexico's going to do everything in their power to try and cause the upset here. Right now, just waiting on the players to get ready. I imagine just some last-second lobby logistics getting sorted out here. A lot of familiar faces in other key modes. Interesting to see them make their appearance in 1K. A lot of them have been in and around this key mode for a little while now, considering the fact that these tournaments have been going on since late 2020, early 2021. It's crazy to see how much this scene has grown, and it looks like everybody is loaded in. It is going to be Minato and Lube for China going up against Mari and Assail for Mexico here. Going to be duking it out on Classic 2, one of the longer maps in this pool overall. So plenty of opportunity for catch-up if you do find the early drops, but for both of these teams, ooh, Mari actually picking up the first miss. Minato actually trading it back really quickly here with a couple of extra taps to boot. Maybe some early taps causing them to lose those early 1-2s. Both of them suffering, but Minato actually faring worse for wear, down into that 94% range. I imagine as this map continues on, they're going to build back up to that, I'd say about high 98% range, low 99% range is probably the marker now for them if they can keep that Marvelous going. But the double is going to catch them out once again, going to give Mexico a bit more of a cushion to work with now. 10,000 points to the good as Assail trying to keep the mantle here for Mexico, who actually didn't even notice in the early exchanges them dropping as well. Lube, the only one with a full combo to speak of through the early goings here, and the only player in that high 99% range that I imagine is going to be the benchmark for these players. And Minato finding a nerd drop going to help extend this lead for Mexico as things stand. 21,000 points to the good, despite Lube's best efforts here to try and keep this lead in check for China. Taking a bit more of a lull now. Third of the map already done here. Into the rolls, into the triplet transition, out of that, nobody getting caught up by it as things stand. And Lube going to be finding the drop as well. In arguably one of the calmer sections, the doublet's not catching anybody out either. Both Mexicans now above that 400 combo cap, going to be getting full contribution for their scores, or for their judgments, going to be increasing the score to about 42,000 points here with half the map still left to go. China not out of it just yet, but gonna need some misses from the Mexicans, but the only ones coming through here are going to be from these Chinese players. Minato finding yet another drop, just not able to establish a bit of a foothold in this map, and it is on their pick. Potential for an early breakpoint on the first map of this match. Probably not what anybody had on their bingo card going into this match, but if you're rooting for Mexico, you take this and you run with it all the way to the bank here. Quarter of the map still left to go. Both Assail and Mari holding up to some pretty substantial combo. Neither Chinese player above that 400 combo cap to try and contest. Despite Lube holding on to the highest accuracy, they're starting to get caught by both Assail and Mari. So their good effort is going to go by the wayside before too long here. And as we reach this last eighth here, Lube going to find yet another drop. There goes the only significant combo for China once again, and the lead only skyrockets in favor of this Mexico squad. So going into this outro, some more 1/4 streams. More of the same that the players have been dealing with. But as things stand, Mexico going to pick up the first break point in this match to make it 0-1. And one can only imagine what the reaction is to that. Probably not a point they were expecting to get, especially with those early drops. But able to keep it clean through the rest of it. And now with an early break point in the back pocket, going into their pick, Maybe a chance for a bit more of an exploratory pick, something a little bit more risky that they wouldn't have gone for had China actually won that point. But it remains to be seen. Potential weakness getting found in this Chinese roster with regards to some of those harder patterns could lead to something like maybe Half Ghost or Beyond the Decision Water Flowing, either of the new maps. Icicles maybe an outside shout as well, but if you're going for those 1-4 streams with some of those tricky alternating patterns, those might be the best options here for Mexico. Or they could stick to their game plan. Is all on the table now for them to work with. And while we wait for this pick from Mexico, would like to point out, while there isn't that much at stake in terms of elimination, like just straight up elimination, there is matchup determinations to be made here depending on the winner. The winner of this match will face off against the winner of I Don't Know Tunisia versus Poland, and the loser faces off against the winner of United Kingdom and Peru Esclaves. So definitely want to ensure that you're getting the on paper easier matchup, at least in terms of seeding. But for right now, waiting on Mexico, going to go for Classic 3, so I can get behind it. Going to throw in some of that LN element as well. This map does have its fair share of moments with tricky patterns. Those really fast triplet gallops at times. There's a like 1/4 into 1/3 transitional run towards the middle portions of the map that can lead to some discomfort. Mari actually going to tag out for Happy Gamer, at least for now. A very short map in the grand scheme of things. Very little room for error. It looks like these are going to be the lineups. The only substitution in this lobby so far. MP Star Command comes out. We're going to get into the second map of this best of 9. Mexico with the early breakpoint, looking to try and double up to start this match off. Can they do it, or can China get that breakpoint right back and make this a glorified best of 7 when all is said and done? Everybody having a pretty calm time to do that introduction. It's going to be holding on to the accuracy on the LNs, but Minato going to actually find the first drop in the lobby. Gets traded out this time by Assail, but immediately responded to by Lube. Both full combos gone for the side of China. And as I mentioned, going into this map, a markedly shorter map, a full 2 minutes, going to bleed several tens of thousands of points through this introduction, considering the fact that those were not the cleanest of drops. Both players down into that 98% range, and despite Assail's miss, a second miss as well, still in that 99% mark, and with Happer kind of just off on their own in that 99.7 range, it does break the lead in half. Assail picking up a couple of misses, but a chain miss from the Chinese roster. A full combo reset on their side once again, going to restore this cushion that the Mexicans had built up. 58,000 points to the good, despite Assail's trade back of one of those misses. Happer basically putting the team on their back. 99.6, losing about 1/10% in terms of the accuracy, but you will take that. They can do whatever they want at this point through this last sliver of chart. Assail with another slider break, going to drop the score just a little bit, but Minato going to trade it back at the end, and Mexico successfully doubles up to start this match off. A quick 0-2 start. Very good performances overall, but Happer getting the MVP, deservedly so. 2 200s to their name, a near 990k score as China wastes 0 time. They're going for Classic 1. A test of consistency at the end of the day. A very, very good chart to kind of settle the nerves a little bit. There are very few surprises in this map. It's just 1-4 consistency. Can you hold your nerve on the 1-2s, not overthink it too much? And now we've struck a bit of a happy medium in terms of song length. We had a 3-minute 30, we had a 1-minute 30, now we have a 2-minute 20. As Mari checks back in for Mexico here, I imagine the more rice-oriented charts are going to be Mari and Assail. And as things stand, maybe just a flexible pick for the other players on their roster. With Snow and Happer just kind of filling in the gaps here and there. Meanwhile, for China, both Minato and Lube staying in for this one. MP Star Command comes out. Gonna get into this third map. Mexico, a strong 2-0 start. China looking to try and notch their first point on the board. Not out of the realm of possibility, but gotta do it soon unless they find themselves looking down the barrel of a potential match point situation. Of course, Mexico still has to win their pick afterwards, but as we get this map underway, I imagine this is going to be a lot more tightly contested. Ratio going to be the name of the game as we get through this first verse of this map. Everybody above that 99.7 range. Hundredths of a percent separating the players in this lobby. And overall team performances averaging out to where there is only 1,000 points between the two rosters, bouncing back and forth through that first quarter, moving on into the second half of the map. Mexico with the tiniest of advantages, 2,500 points. Their overall average accuracy evening out just that bit more, but Mari going to find the drop, going to give the lead back over to China. I think their first substantial lead in this match, 11,000 points. Neither player answering back that miss. With half the map still left to go. But Minato actually going to find a drop, a second one as well, going to swing the lead back on over to Mexico now. 3,000 points to the good as Mari makes that recovery run, still able to keep themselves above that 99.5 mark, which is imperative in ensuring that they don't give that lead back on over. Minato having a bit of a messier time getting back on into it. 100 going to be dotting that performance on that polyrhythmic section there, down into that low 99% range. Lube doing everything in their power to try and wrench this lead back, but Assail canceling them out, 99.85%. But they're not out of it just yet. This outro can catch people out, these doublets. Can't overthink them too much. 200s raining down from the players, but the lead stays intact for Mexico. 22,000 points as things stand. No slider breaks through the only LNs in this map. And as the map comes to an end, Mexico getting yet another breakpoint. Gonna make it 0-3 now. What a performance. Very good scores overall, but now it's Assail's turn for the Flowers. 2 200s to their name, 993k, 5,300s, out-ratioing Minato in the head-to-head. Mari not too far behind. That miss basically just putting a bit of a damper on the overall score, but it was more than enough at the end of the day. As Mexico once again up to pick here. Kind of going down the list, varying order, but 1, 2, and 3 of the classic maps are out of the way. And again, I mean, Señorita Bonita kind of worked out for Mexico there at the end of the day. That essentially opens up the rest of the map pool to them in terms of stylistic choices they can go into. I still think something like Half Ghost would be a very testing map, but it could also be very 50-50 in terms of overall performance. There are a lot of choke points in that map. I think the only maps to avoid are those that are really like simple in structure, something like Palm Shot or like Obelisk. And it's gonna be water flowing, so new one going to be the pick for Mexico here. I was alluding to this one earlier for their potential first pick, so not surprising to see it get thrown out here. Same kind of vein as something like Sekai no Juliet, just a couple less LNs to deal with, but it does have some awkward transitional moments where you're doing these like 1-2s, but then you have like a quick string of like 1-4s, transitioning right back into some faster 1-2s, and if you don't have the hand control, you can find yourself overstreaming them very easily. No substitutions to speak of here for either side. They're a pretty long map in the grand scheme of things as well. Mexico looking to try and make it a match point situation. China looking to try and notch one of these. They gotta get some of these breakpoints back and win some of their own picks. They want to have a hope of getting themselves back on into it. Road to recovery has to start now, and it has to be on Mexico's pick. But Lube going to find a first break here. A couple of 200s to boot. Not going to be the most graceful of misses. When all is said and done, down into that 97% range. Enough time to get themselves back into a more competitive accuracy. 99 is kind of the bar that everybody's been swinging at, but Minato going to be joining them as well. No full combos once again for the side of China. And Mexico once again taking this advantage and running with it. 20,000 points to the good through this introduction. Both Mari and Assail balancing each other out, ensuring that if one falls, the other's there to pick up the pieces, and vice versa. And they're about to cross that 400 combo cap. Lube finding yet another drop. It is very easy to overtap on this map. And the first triplet gallop catches out Minato as well. Another full combo reset for the Chinese roster. Gonna double the advantage for the Mexicans. 50,000 points as Mari picks up a couple of bad judgments there, but manages to hold on to the combo. Both of them now over that 400 combo cap. 55,000 points going into the back half of the map. Oh, but Mari finds a miss on the transition out of that section. Going to give a bit of a lifeline to China, but they're going to need a couple more misses to start going their way. They're going to need somebody like Assail to start finding some misses as well if they want to try and make some dents into this lead. But Lube going to trade it back before too long here. Just not able to get a foothold on this map as well. And there is not that much of an opportunity to get back up with that 400 combo cap. There's only about 1,000 notes in this map, and with Assail already eclipsing that 700 combo mark, the only player with a full combo to speak of as Minato falls once again here. Assail manages to bring themselves up over that 99.7 mark, on course for a 990k score, and they don't even need the full breadth of it as the LN start to rain down here. Very short. You can tap these like Bryce notes, and nobody taking any real significant damage. As I say that, Mari actually gonna find a break once again. Gonna shrink the lead about 20,000 points. That's the margin here. But neither Lube or Minato are in a position to capitalize. Neither of them are up over that 400 combo cap, but that miss dropped 30,000 points. You don't want to flirt with the possibility of a potential comeback here with an eighth of the map left to go. It was a pretty significant accuracy drop as well from Mari, just not able to recover gracefully down into that low or high 97% mark. Gonna be able to get back up to the 98s, but as things stand, that accounts for why that score dipped so low in terms of the margin. At least 70,000 to 45 in the grand scheme of things is a pretty wild swing as the last couple of notes rain down. Mexico right off the rip going to make it a match point situation against our third seed. It's gonna have to be the comeback of all comebacks from here for this Chinese roster. The only saving grace right now is the fact that it is their pick. They can choose what they want to go into, and wasting 0 time. It's going to be Classic 5. It's going to be Half Ghost. I am not sure about this one, folks. With the way they've been performing on some of these more technically demanding charts, this is arguably one of the most testing ones of the classic maps. But hey, if you're gonna go out, you gotta go out swinging. This is about as hard of a swing as you can take. Maybe just figuring it's like, if we don't pick it, Mexico's probably gonna pick it on us if they get a chance to, so might as well just rip the band-aid off now. Don't have to worry about it later. Force Mexico to start picking into stuff that maybe we can start contesting on. Could be the train of thought. But the margin for error is shrinking, and it will shrink by the second if they do not get off to the right start. And so far through 4 maps, they have been the ones to find their first drops. This introduction is the bulk of the difficulty. There are so many triplet gallops that can trip you up if you aren't the most confident in your rhythmic processing. But Mari going to be finding the drop before those triplets. Minato trades one back. Mari having to clean out the exchanges, but only by a couple of tenths. And both of them, the entire top half of this lobby, struggling through this introduction. This is the make or break point. And Mexico manages to survive through the intro. Mari finding a massive drop. Just took a second to process what just happened there. Just a massive string of misses going to bring them down into that 90% range. But both Lube, Minato, and the entire lobby has reset. And Mari not playing through some of those sections, not sure if there's technical issues, but that might be something that will get revealed to us once the song ends. Not out of it by any stretch of the imagination. China is finding a couple of misses here. Mari trades one of them back. The lead is 80,000 points in favor of China as things stand. Still half the map left to go. As the slider breaks coming through, I imagine it's probably just keyboard issues with how consistent they have been through 3 of these 4 maps that they have played. It probably just has to be a connection issue at this point. As they trade, Minato finding a couple of misses, gonna shrink that lead down. 70,000, 60,000, hold on, what's going on here? 50,000 points now. Minato finding another drop. Not traded back. A sale now over that 400 combo cap. If they can hold on, they can start making some pretty significant dents here. But is there enough map? There is not. And China manages to stave off the upset 4 now. Gonna notch their first point on the board. And boy, did they need that one to go their way. 52,000 points to margin. And still, we continue on. Not gonna be a clean sweep. Put away the brooms, everybody. Now we start getting into the territory of potential reverse sweep. We have yet to see Pixel Love, and it's got to be Pixel Love for China to have a chance of winning this match. The next hurdle they have to face is getting these 2 breakpoints back. And now if you're Mexico, maybe take some time to deliberate as to what the strategy is going to be here. If Mari's having technical difficulties, I mean, Happer came in, did a fantastic job on Señorita Bonita a little bit earlier. You can maybe go into one of those LN picks beyond the decision, Obelisk. And even Palm Shot opens up if they're up to playing it. So there are options for Mexico. They don't have to go into something like Icicles if they don't want to. So when you hold all the cards, it can be easy to get in your own head as to how good is that hand actually. So for right now, waiting to see what the pick is going to be from Mexico. I mean, they do get the 2 minutes to make the pick. It's going to be classic four, so to go for palm shot. Do we see Happer Gamer check in for Mari? Like we saw on Senorita here, but that will do it for the classic map pool. So all the maps from Joke 2 and 3 have now been played. You see Mari depart the lobby. Would not be surprised if we saw Happer right on cue. So I think that is going to be the strategy for Mexico, at least in this early game, where Assail is kind of like the anchor, the stalwart defender down in their corner of the lobby, and everybody else is just going to rotate around him. So on the other side, Minato and Lube going to be the two. Do have Formless and Aikmi, but neither of them coming in. So probably these two being the more comfortable on all these charts. MP Star Command comes out. As everybody finally loads in before too long. This is going to be the situation for the remaining maps. Either China extends this match or Mexico wins here and now. Gonna get some funny catch-up work here from Bancho. Get to watch the intro in silence for a couple seconds. Very easy to drop 10% on these little swingy patterns. I think all eyes, the focus has to be on China. Once we get into the drop section, just 1/4 into 1/3 all over the place. Very easy to lose track of where you're supposed to be hitting. The lengths of the LNs prove to be a bit of an issue as well. If not breaking combo, just dropping 200s. Here we go, first drop, first opportunity for any major mistakes. It is 2,000 points flickering between the two teams. And it's cross lobby battles. Happer versus Lube. Assail versus Minato. Minato going to be blinking first. Going into these triplet gallops. Not traded back by either of the Mexicans. And the lead extends to 30,000 points. Going into the back half of the chart. There's still some choke points through this next section, but it's still very heavily 1-2 base. Gotta watch some of these releases, but Lube going to be finding the drop as well. Both full combos for China are now gone, and you imagine potentially any hope of a comeback here. Both Happer and Assail have it on lock. 65,000 points to the good going into the last eighth of the map. Only 0.3% separating both of them. Both Chinese players down into that 98% range. And as we get into the last segment of this map, there's very little left to trip up anybody. And at this point, it would take a massive collapse to hand the lead back on over to China and Mexico. At the end of the day, some slider breaks for the road from 3 of the players in the lobby. Assail, the only one surviving with the FC at the end of the day. But the damage has been done. Mexico pulls off the upset 10-3. And we'll swap places with China. As I mentioned before, no eliminations, but seeding implications definitely on the cards here. So Mexico will face off against the winner between Indonesia and Poland, our 14th and 19th seed, to play later this weekend. And China will face off against the loser, or the winner of United Kingdom and Peru Esclaves. So 6 and 7, so a massive seed discrepancy difference for both of these teams. Congratulations to Mexico for winning that match, and hopefully we see more of them as we move on into round of 16. Start seeing more of the bracket begin to clarify here. Very interesting implications. Our first real upset of this tournament. But that will do it for us here for now. Gonna take a bit of a lengthy break in the grand scheme of things. 4 hours from now, we're gonna see that aforementioned match. This is a Very important one. If you are Mexico, get to watch your future opponents here. Indonesia and Poland gonna be facing off. And then just the last remaining matches for the round of 20 weekend. But until then, we'll catch you guys later.